Hello, and welcome to Odds on Champions League first leg, last 16 round. Great games we have ahead. Of course, PSG, Liverpool, Real Madrid, Atletico de Madrid, and so many great games to analyze with Ronan Murphy. Hello, Ronan, with Alain Valnegri, and with you guys. Looking forward to these 2 weeks of great football we have in Europe and in Oddspedia. Of course, we are going to give you the best tips and analysis for these games, and you have in our website also the best odds. So if you enjoy the videos, don't forget, press the like, subscribe. Let's go on now with the show. And let's start on Tuesday with the early kickoff. Remember, 7 this game in the 𝐻𝐵REGEL Stadium, Bruges, Aston Villa. And here is a great one, I think. Of course, not the big names we have in this last 16 round, but from the betting point of view, I think we can have a lot of value, especially if we look at the home form, Club Bruges. These teams met already this season, and Bruges beat the Aston Villa 1-0 with that odd penalty. But they are very strong when they are playing at home. We know they have great names. For instance, Van Aken is a player to follow. Mignolet was one of the heroes of Bergamo, and this team does very well when they are playing at home. So perhaps Ronan is not this straightforward, this tie, especially also seeing the last results or games of Aston Villa. The season could be very long for this short squad and a team that is not used to play in so many competitions, Ronan.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, they added well in January. Marcus Rashford is making headlines. Marco Asensio is definitely making headlines. On Friday evening, he scored against Cardiff in the FA Cup, and Aston Villa had a nice draw again in the FA Cup for the next round. So they might be looking at that as perhaps somewhere they can win silverware rather than the Champions League this season. But they've been had a nice draw, I suppose, on paper anyway, in the Champions League after their strong league phase performance. But we remember back to the league phase when these two sides met, and you talked about it, that bizarre penalty. I don't think we're going to have Tyrone Mings handle the ball or pick up the ball in the area again this time out. But if you look back at that match, Bruges actually were quite the better side for large parts of the match. I know they had less possession, but they had 13 shots to 8. They had a higher XG. Obviously, the penalty helps the XG, but even without the penalty, I think they would have had a higher XG too in it. So this is a side that shouldn't be underestimated. They've won back-to-back Champions League games. Obviously, they're a side that are in form. Aston Villa, they won in the Cup, but before that, they've kind of had inconsistent games in the league. And Bruges at home in the Champions League, they've been very good. They lost 3-0 against Dortmund in the first game, but they haven't been beaten since that. They've beaten Lille, they've beaten Sporting, they've beaten Atalanta, like you said, and they even drew with Juventus. So Aston Villa on the road in the Champions League haven't been quite as impressive. They've only won 2 of their four away games, Bruges and Monaco, or they've lost 2 of their 4 away games. Still, they lost to Bruges and Monaco and to beat Young Boys and Leipzig. So those aren't teams that those are games maybe that you expect to win, especially with the form that Leipzig were in the Champions League this season. So I think Bruges, there could be some value in thinking they can get something. So Bruges double chance is 158. I'm not going to go with the 3.05 on the screen and say Bruges are definitely going to win this one, but I think this will be a tight affair because, like we've seen previously from Bruges, they tend to keep games tight. Aston Villa, they are a team that are capable of scoring, but if their forwards aren't on form or Rashford still hasn't scored for them in Aston Villa colours, it could be a low scoring affair. And the average goals between these two teams are 1.2 for Bruges, 1.6 for Aston Villa in the Champions League. Similarly, they don't concede a lot of goals either. Average goals conceded 1.3 for Bruges and 0.8 for Aston Villa. So I like the look of under total goals, under 2.5 total goals in this one at 190.
Okay, it should be a tight one. Goal Villa game, Kenyan is saying. Do you also, Alain, could see trouble for Aston Villa? Do you see Emery's men, these favorites, or as Bruges show us, they can be very effective. In Bergamo, they were so effective every time they attack.
Bruce is a scorebook team because it's not team when do you see Bruce playing you don't fall in love, but is a team really strong, and is a team can and known how they can change the register. In Belgium is a dominant team, is a team with a clear idea of possession, ball, and with a direct play. In Champions is a team with a low block. A low block, they defend really well in his area. They have a really good goalkeeper because Mignolet is amazing. Since his return from England is a key player for Bruges. I, s- I understand maybe the Liverpool fans don't understand that version of Mignolet because he don't make mistake. He won game in Bergamo. He won the game clearly. And, now Aston Villa away the last three games they lose. Aston Villa feel comfortable with him open the game and concede space because Aston Villa is a running team. You know, we know Emery is a team known to run in the space like not a lot of team there are a strong skills with that, but when they must to do the game, to have the possession, is really horizontal team. And Bruges feel comfortable against that type of team. And when they're playing in John Bridal, is dangerous. Is really dangerous. In my opinion, in the last three games in Belgium, only two draw and a defeat because the head is to the champions. They are writing the history in Bruges. And if Bruges arrive to the quarter of final for a team in Belgium, arrive to the quarter of final, change your economical dimension. And it's really important, this game, for them. And in the first game this season, I made a mistake because I believe in Aston Villa, and this time I believe in Bruges. And I choose Bruges winning 𝐿𝐴 Go with the risk, guys. Odds 2.04.
Okay, Asian Handicap Zero. So if there is a draw, you get your money back. Great odds to back Club Bruges, although the favorite for the tie and for this game is still Aston Villa. Marco is seeing Bruges to win an under 3.5 goals. Mignolet, the hero of Bergamo, is the highest footballer, I think, the highest paid in Belgian football. So making good money and making great saves. Indeed. Well, let's jump into the next game. Dortmund, Lille. Here we have a clear favorite for the bookies, and I can understand why. Is Dortmund. Lille, one of the biggest surprises of the first round, finishing in the top 8, beating great teams like Real Madrid or Atletico de Madrid. But, for instance, they were thrashed by PSG in only 40 minutes on Saturday, and we have in front of Lille, Alain Valnegri, Dortmund, a team that is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde when they are playing in Europe, so good. When they listen to the Champions League music, they didn't have any trouble to eliminate Sporting Lisbon, and even with the new manager with Kovac, now they are even getting good results in the Bundesliga. So we know how difficult is this stadium, and I can understand how Borussia Dortmund is that favorite, Alain.
Yes, his favorite, especially after the game in Paris, where we saw a bad version of Lille. My question is, player have the head, the brain in Dortmund for this game because for Lille is the biggest surprise of this Champions League with Brest, in my opinion. Nobody wait Lille in the top 8 of these champions. The news in Dortmund is 3 games without concede goal. What happened in Dortmund? The 𝐿𝐴𝐧𝐧𝐶𝐞𝐜, we know 𝐿𝐴𝐧𝐧𝐶. 𝐿𝐴𝐧𝐧𝐶 is not a really offensive football. In my opinion, is not the manager for Dortmund, but at the moment when the situation was really bad, Kovacs can be the guy to found a balance. Is we don't saw the super offensive version of Dortmund, but we saw a team with more defensive concept, more especially the space between the line. A team concede less shooting on his target. They protect better 𝗀𝗲𝗀𝐻, and 3 games without goal, and in the middle a Champions League game. And that one, Lille is a team, in my opinion, can be scored and can be break that record of three matches without concede goal, because Lille has really good individuality. Dortmund defend a lot in 1 versus 1, and 𝐬𝐭𝐵, David, our player can make the difference against every defender. And after Dortmund at home is it has a lot of powder. Lille, in the last months, we don't saw the best version of Lille, especially without the ball. We saw that in Paris. We saw that in Strasbourg, for example. Strasbourg have a model of play really similar to Dortmund. Is a really powerful team to attack the space, really dynamic, with really fast striker. And for that reason, I choose both team to score. Odds 1.78.
Okay, Lille to score in every game, both teams to score is a good option. Marco is saying sacking Sahin at that time, Ronan, was a good idea, and bringing in 𝐿𝐿𝐴𝐵𝐻.
Sacking Sahin at that time was a bad idea. They should have done it 2 months earlier. I think they waited far too long to do it. But yeah, the writing had been on the wall. I think every Bundesliga episode that we had, you were asking me every week how he was still there, and he was still there. It seemed to cling on, and it was the Champions League performances. The home performances were good, but especially the Champions League performances was the reason that he was still around. And this is a team that are capable of causing problems in the Champions League. We've seen it recently. We saw it last season, obviously, and we might see it again here against Lille, because Borussia Dortmund under 𝐿𝐴𝐵𝐻, they're in great form. 6-0 win over Union Berlin, 2-0 win away at St. Pauli at the weekend, and Alain's talking about the clean sheets, but they've only conceded 2 goals in the last 5 games, as well as the fact that they've had 3 clean sheets in a row. So this is a team that are much better defensively since they brought 𝐿𝐴𝐵𝐻 in, and that's what he kind of was brought in to do, to steady the ship and make them a better team, because we knew they could score goals. They were always capable of scoring goals. It was conceding goals that was the problem. And Lille, like Alain said, and like some of the commenters have said, they tend to score goals themselves, but they tend to concede goals too. They've only had 2 clean sheets so far in 2025. They conceded 4 at the weekend. So an option here could be Dortmund to score some goals. Dortmund over 1.5 goals looks good value at 175. I think this could be a match where Dortmund score twice. Wouldn't be surprised me at all. Correct score 2-0 or 2-1, or both 850 if you think that Dortmund can score twice. Maybe Lille can score or not in this one. But Dortmund have been very good at home in the Champions League. Their only home defeats in the Champions League this season were to Barcelona and Real Madrid, 2 giants of European football. They've beaten PSG, they've beaten Atletico Madrid at home. Lille have lost games that maybe they shouldn't have lost on the road. Slavia Prague, you think they could have got something from that. Sporting, maybe they could have got something from that. Liverpool, that's no surprise. But Lille, I think they have a number of injured players in this one as well. Cabela, Umtiti, I think 𝗍𝗏 could even be out, I doubt, for this one. Thiago Santos, they hope to have those players back for the second leg. So Lille, I think they'll be hoping to keep it close. But I like the look of a Borussia Dortmund win in this one as well, 174, which isn't something I was saying in the first half of the season many times. But yeah, but for me, there's one big value bet in this one, and that's 𝐬𝐭𝐵𝐻. He has 10 goals in 10 Champions League games. He's the top scorer in the tournament. 5 goals in his last 2 games for Borussia Dortmund. He scored 4 in that game against Union Berlin, so he is on fire at the moment. He's averaging 1.24 goals per 90 in the Champions League, because he hasn't played full match in every match. He's averaging 1 𝐋𝐿 a match in the Champions League too. So if he gets a chance to score, he'll probably put it away. So I like 𝐻𝐵𝐻 anytime scorer at 255.
Well, great value bet indeed. We can check even the goal scorer table in our website, as you can see there. And we have 𝐻𝐵𝐻 with 1 goal more than Robert Lewandowski, or 2 more than Rafinha and Erling Haaland. Over 2.5 goals for Kenyan times. Well, Dortmund favorite for this game and for the tie. And the next one is PSV Arsenal. And here, again, we have Arsenal really favorite for the game and for the tie. Arsenal, a team that said goodbye to the Premier League in the last days, losing to West Ham and to Forest, and they have, they drew with Forest, and they have a great problem going forward. They are not scoring. They don't have forwards, and even we were seeing Merino as number 9. So this is the major issue for Arteta, and PSV was one of the biggest surprises of this Champions League, beating Juventus in the extra time. We saw an old rock star like Perisic scoring in both legs, and they said goodbye as well to the championship, to the Eredivisie in the last days, because it's only one win in the last 6 games. So, Ronan, two teams kind of in trouble in their domestic competitions and not in the best moment of the season, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think this might be one of the hardest games to predict from all the 8 matches that we have in the Champions League this week. You wouldn't be surprised to see either team win, and I think the best chance that Arsenal have win this match is if they change their name to Go Ahead Eagles, because PSV's last 2 games were 2 defeats in a row to Go Ahead Eagles, 2-1 in the cup and then 3-2 in the league. Yeah. So, yeah, Arsenal as well. They are now on a good run of form. 1-0 against West Ham at the weekend. And then they had a 0-0 with Forest there at the weekend, or the previous weekend, because they didn't play this specific weekend with the FA Cup on. But yeah, Arsenal, they've had a bit of rest, but hopefully that rest taught them how to score goals, because like you said, they've had striking problems at the moment, but they haven't. They also have problems going to Netherlands in recent years. They haven't won in the Netherlands since 2008-2009 season when they beat 20. So since then, they've played 3 times in Holland. They've drawn 2 and lost 1, and that loss was against PSV. So they're hoping that won't happen again. These teams, though, so far in the Champions League, they have been able to score goals. So Arsenal will be hoping that they can score goals in the Champions League if they can't score in domestic competition. They're averaging 2.0 goals each in the tournament so far. PSV, they've been conceding goals and scoring goals a lot recently too. They've had both teams to score yes in their last 6 games in all competitions. They've had 8 of 10 games, both teams to score yes in the Champions League. Obviously, we should say Arsenal had the second best defence in the league phase of the Champions League. They were excellent. They kept loads of clean sheets. They kept 5 clean sheets in the league phase. They only had 2 of 8 games with both teams to score yes. But despite that, and Arsenal's problems up front, I'm going to go against all that kind of recent Arsenal form and say they will score a goal. But PSV at home, they tend to score goals too. So my main one is both teams to score yes here.
Okay, no strikers, no threat. This is kind of risky. They both teams to score yes in the strike of Arsenal without scoring. As an Arsenal fan, I can see us not scoring many, although Arsenal as hosts are not good. Alain, your take for this game?
But in my opinion, Arsenal right now, I think there will be put all into the Champions League, because they don't qualify in Premier, in FA Cup. They're out in Carabao Cup. For the title, I don't think Arsenal can be fight until the final to win the Premier League. Now is the biggest goal is the champions, because there will be the next champions, and I think where the team can feel some special tension, special motivation is the Champions League. And now playing against that PSV Eindhoven is clearly in a crisis. PSV Eindhoven in 2 months lose 10 points advantage in Eredivisie respect to the Ajax. And my question is how Juventus can go out against this PSV, because in the last 6 games the only victory was against Juventus at home. In Eredivisie, the level is really poor to the version of the PSV. We saw in the semi-final losing against Go Ahead Eagles at home, and is not in a good moment. And Arsenal, yes, they miss a lot of striker, But if we analyze the offensive production of Arsenal still create football. They don't have the killer in area, but the team create football. And is the most important is like that. That don't be accurate in the last two games. Yes, maybe against West Ham, against Nottingham Forest, but I am not so worried. Don't worry. I'm not worried for Arsenal. And the last weekend they don't play. There can be put the focus about the Champions League game. In my opinion, Arsenal is really favorite for this game, and I choose Arsenal winning. And is more than 20 years that don't won in Philips Stadium. Is the moment Arsenal winning odds 2.10.
Okay, Arsenal to score from a corner actually is one of our favorite bets with Tom Rennie, to see the defenders scoring the center backs, always very strong in set pieces. The Gunners really, really favorites. Next one on Tuesday, Euro Derby. And here we have Real Madrid as favorite, also favorite to win the Champions League despite the bad moment in the domestic league. Another defeat against Betis. Now they are 3 points behind Barcelona, so it looks like it's going to be another season with the focus on the Champions League. They met twice this season, 1-1 in both games, but Real Madrid have the upper hand when they are playing in Europe. In our minds, for sure, in my mind, is the two finals that Real Madrid beat Atletico de Madrid in the extra time and in penalties, and another 2 times recently they knocked them out from the Champions League. Therefore, Alain Valnegri, the odds, but in recent results, everything is really balanced, and actually Ancelotti suffers a lot every time he has to face Simeone, so perhaps we see a very, very, very tight tie, this one with the Madrid teams.
Yes, they're really near. We saw that from the beginning of the season. Real Madrid, in my opinion, the both game against City is not a reference for me, because City are really far to the quality and the level you need at this moment of the competition. Atletico is really competitive this season. I think Julian Alvarez changed a lot of things with Atletico Madrid, especially in a qualitative analysis, because Julian Alvarez he has number and statistic really near to Luis Suarez when Atletico won his last Liga. Goal, assist, perfect combo with Griezmann. And there are alternatives. Sorloth made goal really important. From a lot of time, I don't had a lot of pleasure to saw Athletic in the offensive perspective. In tactical, it was really clean, really organized. But this season, I saw something more, some another skills, no, to attack the rival. Maybe the block is not so low for all the game. Real Madrid now, yes, I know is the competition of the team of Ancelotti. There must to have a reaction, because it's rarely to saw Real Madrid file 2 consecutive match, but it's a derby, and it's a derby. Normally, the winner is the tension, and for that reason, I choose the X, the draw, because from since the beginning of the season, 2 draw in 2 games, odds 3.75.
Well, we saw 2 draws this season. The first one in the Metropolitano, Atletico scored in the last minute. In the second one, just recently, Ronan, Atletico scored first, but actually Real Madrid probably deserved to win. Real Madrid to win and Mbappé to score or assist. There are some team news for Real Madrid. Ceballos is out, important, and perhaps even Fede Valverde, which is even more important. He's doubtful.
Yeah, I think the quotes came out that he was going to, or a report came out that he would try his best to be fit and he would play through pain. So this is kind of one of those matches where if you are a Real Madrid player and you're kind of a bit doubtful, you will do everything you can in your power to play in the match. It's a rival, it's your city rival, and the city rival in the biggest competition of all, the Real Madrid's own competition, you might as well say it is. So yeah, they will be determined that they won't make it 4-1 all draws in a row, but I'm on the same page as Alain here. I think it could be another one of those 1-1 draws. So both teams to score, yes, could be an option here with the last 9 meetings between these sides. Both teams to score, yes. So that's both teams to score, yes, and this is 182. So Alain has tipped the draw at 375. But if you want to double that and say it's going to be another 1-1 draw, that's 750. So if you want a correct score in that one, we got a lovely correct score in the Bundesliga at the weekend that came in at a 0-0 at 10. So hopefully we can repeat that feat in this match here. So it was obviously 1-1 last month, and 3 of Atletico Madrid's last 5 games have been score draws. So they're on a kind of a run of score draws at the moment. But I think you could look around elsewhere for value if you're not kind of with me and Alain on thinking that Atletico Madrid can get something. If you think this match could go either way, you could look elsewhere. You obviously see that the referee is 𝐿𝐵𝐿, and he's averaging 2.92 yellow cards per game this season and 0.42 penalties per game this season in games he's officiated. So Real Madrid to score a penalty is 6. Atletico Madrid to score a penalty is 9. Perhaps not either of those are the ones to go with, but you could always put a punt on either one, a small amount. But yeah, maybe have a look at the bookings market, because this referee, he's given in matches he's refereed before, he's given 5 or more yellow cards. It's happened before with him. So this match, Atletico Madrid, 𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐲 always has the chance that it could be an aggressive encounter. Alain and Ronan has 9 yellow cards in 23 games this season for Atletico Madrid. So if he picks up his 10th, that could be an option here. Alain and Ronan to be shown a yellow card is 310. I think that could be an option. But I do like the way that Alain is looking at this, but I'll be a bit safer. I think Atleti are on a 10-game unbeaten streak. Real Madrid did not win at the weekend. They lost 2-1 to Betis. Jude Bellingham was missing for that one. He was suspended in the league. He's suspended in Champions League for this one. They're a different team without him in midfield. So I'm going to go for Atletico Madrid Asian handicap plus 0.5, and that's just under 2. It's a bit safer than Alain's draw.
I must say, guys, that you are looking down at Real Madrid. You like a correct score? Mark my words, Ronan. I can see 2-0 or something like this for Real Madrid. But perhaps I'm too optimistic. Always when Champions League comes, Theo, Mbappé to score or assist, and Kenyan is seeing goals and goals in this one. I see more like a tight game, but still I can see Real Madrid winning. Like Theo, draw in a knockout game, especially at the Bernabeu, is impossible. Well, in the mindset, actually, I remember Chicharito scoring in the very last minute to kick Atletico out, or Cristiano Ronaldo scoring a hat-trick also in the Champions League against Atletico de Madrid to eliminate the Colchoneros. Let's see. It's a lot of tension in this Real Madrid Atletico. Well, for Wednesday, another 4 games, early kickoff in the Netherlands, Feyenoord. Inter were so close to finish the Serie A and the Scudetto against Napoli after Di Marco scored a screamer from a free kick, but at the end, a draw against Napoli, and they are not at their best as well in this moment on time in the season, not scoring plenty of goals. Even Lautaro Martinez is also not scoring many goals, and we know how Italian teams suffer in the playoffs of this competition. Feyenoord, one of the biggest surprises of the Champions League, knocked out Milan in the playoffs, and they are 4th in the Eredivisie, but Ronan, they showed already this season how strong they can be in the 𝐿𝐵, beating Milan, of course, but especially that game against Bayern Munich, although on the other hand, they lost to Leverkusen or Salzburg, for instance.
Yeah, I think they're on a bit of a good run at the moment. They're 6 games out of defeat, and in that period, they've obviously knocked AC Milan out of the Champions League. So Inter Milan know that they can knock out their local rivals in this one, and this is a Feyenoord team that recently they've been kind of keeping matches close, and we've seen in the past that that's kind of what Inter Milan tend to do as well. So in Feyenoord's 6 games without defeat, 4 of those games they've had 3 or fewer goals, or actually fewer than 3 goals, and none of them have had more than 3 goals, so they don't tend to play out cracking, exciting matches. So those of us tuning in to the early kickoff on Wednesday might be a bit disappointed about the spectacle on offer, but Yeah, Inter as well. Like I said, they don't tend to play hugely scoring matches. Only one of their last 6 games have had more than 2 goals. So yeah, this is a team with the best defense in the league phase. Inter only conceded 1 goal against Leverkusen in the entire league phase. So this is a team that does not give up chances, does not give up goals. I do not expect there to be lots of goals in this one. Feyenoord obviously averaged 2.0 goals per game in the league phase, but against that Italian side so far in the competition, that's only 1.0 goals. So total goals under 2.75 in this one could be an option. 187. These are both teams. These are 2 teams that have a lot of injury problems or tired players. Inter look kind of exhausted on their feet at the moment. Feyenoord don't have a lot in midfield because of the injuries that they had. In Inter's Champions League run so far, both teams to score no has happened in every single game they've played in the tournament so far. So that's what I'm going for again. Both teams to score no, 2.03.
In under 2.5 goals for Theo, under 2 for Carbonaro, and also under for Ronan. Both teams to score no. Everyone is going in the same direction. Alain, are you following the same path? And what do you think about Inter? Probably they are weaker than last season when they seemed stronger, and at the end they exit the Champions League against Atletico Madrid.
Inter, since the beginning of February, we saw a team without a good management in the second half in the game, because they lose a lot of points in the second half, and we saw that in Napoli, we saw that in Torino, we saw against Fiorentina, in Florence. Inter, in my opinion, is the strongest and with the most experienced team in Italy. But the problem is the motivation. Is the biggest question of the Inter is that, because when the team are focused, when the team are aligned to the collective and play for each other, Inter is really difficult to move this team. And probably in Champions we saw the best version of Inter. Only 1 goal received then in the first phase of the Champions League. Is important number. It's true that they don't have a really hard schedule, but the team are there. In my opinion, Inter must to arrive or have the ambition to arrive minimum to the quarter of final. Minimum. The draw is a good draw for Inter. But warning, because Feyenoord, we saw Feyenoord, the best version of Feyenoord in the 𝐿 against Milan. And that day they create and generate a lot of problem with to the Milan, with the high pressure, with the aggressivity, with the skills to be really direct. And Inter sometimes against that type of team, and we saw against Fiorentina with a striker like Ken is a king to attack the space, they suffer a lot. They concede a lot of occasion. Maybe summer injury is a good news, because I think it's the worst season of summer in Inter. But Martinez don't have a lot of experience. Now, in my opinion, it's difficult to choose one 𝐿𝐴2. For that reason, I think Feyenoord will be lose at home. And I choose the double opportunity is a value bet. Double opportunity, 2.33.
Surprise. It would be a surprise. So we all think it should be a low scoring game, this Feyenoord Inter, to be decided probably in San Siro. Warning with the goalkeepers. You mentioned Martinez, you mentioned Sommer injured, and Feyenoord beat Milan thanks to Maignan, and a big mistake from the keeper in the first moments of the game. Well, next one, German tie, Bayern Munich, Leverkusen, great game in the Champions League with Leverkusen, or Xabi Alonso, unbeaten against Bayern Munich. Every time they played, it looks like Leverkusen are way better, even if they drew recently in the Bundesliga. Leverkusen was the best team. They also knocked them out of the cup. And the Leverkusen are doing a great European campaign as well. They only lost to Atletico Madrid and Liverpool away and drew against Brest. So We have to put in question mark their away form in Europe. And of course, with Bayern, we have the experience in this competition. Alain, that's why the bookies give Bayern these really low odds. I think like it's happening the same as with the Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid. The experience in Europe prevailed to give the odds to the bigger clubs.
Bayern suffered a lot. Leverkusen is 6 games without winning against Leverkusen. And I think in Germany right now, you don't have a team with 6 games no losing against Bayern. Now, Bayern this season is one of the worst version of the Bayern in the last 20 years. Because in the big match, the team miss personality. We don't saw a collective. And Xabi Alonso take the measure to this Bayern. And he known to play against Bayern. In the last game, in Leverkusen, the domination of Leverkusen was amazing. If you saw the game, and I saw the game, it was a monologue of Bayer Leverkusen. Bayer don't score in the target in 90 minutes, and Leverkusen miss only accuracy in front of the goal. And that one means Leverkusen have something more at every level for me. To individual analysis, to collective analysis, Leverkusen is right now have something more against Bayern. Leverkusen, the limit this season, in my opinion, is playing Champions League and play with that rhythm and their lose point in Bundesliga. But in a game, in a short game like against Bayern, Leverkusen, in my opinion, don't reflect the odds. Have something more. For that, I think we have a lot of option to try to generate a value bet, and for that reason, I think Leverkusen will be lose in Munich Wednesday. I choose the double opportunity because it's a value bet, odds 2.05.
Same bet as Theo, actually double chance for Leverkusen. Company gets outclassed by better managers like Emery, Xabi Alonso, or Hansi Flick. Ronan, hey, same. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think he hasn't quite shown yet that he is the man for Bayern Munich in the long term. Obviously, the board and the people above him are praising the way he coaches. The defense has been improved. The players seem to enjoy playing for him perhaps more than they did under the technician that was Nagelsmann, or the brutal kind of manager that Thomas Tuchel is known to be, the kind of no-nonsense manager that he is. So I think they're enjoying playing under him, but sometimes you need perhaps a Thomas Tuchel or a Julian Nagelsmann or something like that to build you up for these bigger games. Like this one will be, I know it's a team that they face so often in the Bundesliga, but it's a team that when they face in Germany, like you guys have said, they don't tend to beat in recent years. And Vincent Kompany definitely doesn't beat them because he's only had 2 games in charge, and they knocked him out with a cup, and they drew in the league, and that draw in the league was a disaster for Bayern Munich. They looked like doing nothing in it. He was totally outcoached in that by Xabi Alonso, and Alonso even changed the system for that game. And it'd be interesting to see what system he goes with in this game, because he will have been planning about it for a long time to kind of, since we saw the draw come out, that what to do against this Bayern, and he's had the beating of them before, 3 wins and 3 draws in the 6 games, so there's no reason to think why he can't do it again. And the odds seem to be kind of very kind of wrong, and very lean towards Bayern Munich, without the context of Bayer Leverkusen having Bayern Munich's number in recent years. And these teams, they are teams that tended to score a lot in the group stage, so another option, as well as looking at some value for Leverkusen to get something in this game. You could look at the goal market. So goals scored 2.3 for Bayern in this competition, 1.9 for Leverkusen. So both teams to score, yes, could be a good option here at 170. Correct score 1-1. Maybe if both teams do score, it's 850. I'm not necessarily going to plump with that, because I think Leverkusen can get something from this. And if you look at both the recent form, both teams aren't doing anything other than winning and drawing matches. So Bayern are unbeaten in 9 games since they lost to Feyenoord in the Champions League. Leverkusen are 8 games unbeaten since they lost to Atletico Madrid in the Champions League. So these are 2 teams that are on unbeaten streaks. Might continue here. So a draw at 4.08 on the screen looks pretty good. But I'm going to double down on what Alain said and go for the Leverkusen double chance, because that looks like the best value in this match.
Okay, many people, or a couple of people actually, are highlighting the good form of Bayern when they play at home against the Leverkusen, and that they should have won the game in the Bundesliga, played at the Allianz, and even in the Cup. It's true that Bayern was shown an early red card, and then the game was a bit biased, or was biased, of course. Because of that, and it's very tough to win at the Allianz when we are talking about Champions League. But look, how they suffered against Celtic in the previous round. Well, in the loose, we have Benfica, Barcelona. Here, I guess everyone should go with goals. We expect a really high scoring game. Imagine, we already saw this team in the group stages, and it was 4-5. For Barcelona, with a lot of controversial decisions by the referee. And this Benfica can compete to everyone. We saw Ronan is kind of playing Russian roulette, a lot of goals. You never know what is going to happen in the games. They don't control the games, that's for sure. Even they were risking a lot against Monaco to go out. And with Barcelona, it's kind of the same. They are only playing attacking football. We also saw it recently in the Cup with a 4-4. Against Atletico de Madrid. So I guess we should expect plenty of goals and look at the goal scorers, goals market, and all these kind of markets related with the goals.
Yeah, I haven't actually looked at the correct score of 4 or 5 to see if we'll have a repeat of that. But that could be worth putting 10 cents on maybe if the odds are absolutely astronomical. But yeah, these are 2 teams that like to score goals, that are in great form. Benfica are undefeated in 8 games. They've had 7 wins in that period, and the other was that 3-3 that you mentioned with Monaco. So yeah, this is the team that are trying to score goals at the moment. Barcelona, similar. They're 15 games unbeaten, yet to lose in 2025. They score for fun. The Hansi Flick high line, obviously, it can be exposed, as Benfica did 4 times in that match, but the Hansi Flick high line leads to lots of goals. Barcelona scored the most goals in the league phase, 28, which was 6 more than Borussia Dortmund with 22 in second. They've scored 4 more goals in 9 different games already in 2025, and it's only the start of March. So this is a team that just steamroll opponents. They just love scoring goals. In the Champions League, they scored 3.5 goals on average per game. So yeah, this is a match that I expect plenty of goals. We're all expecting plenty of goals in. Lewandowski, he's now a goal behind 𝐿𝐴𝐵𝐶 in the top scorer race because he didn't play in the playoff round. 𝐿𝐴𝐵𝐶 obviously will play before Barcelona, so Lewandowski might have another goal to catch up on after that one. So Lewandowski, anytime goal scorer, could be a good option here, 2.15. But this is a team, Barcelona, like scoring goals. Benfica conceded 16 goals in 8 league phase games, so that's an average of 2 goals per game. And Barcelona, like I said, they got another 4-goal game at the weekend, so they can do it again here. Barcelona over 2 goals. I really like to look at 198.
Alain, goals and goals. Do you think this Barca is trustworthy also to put some money on them, or everything can happen? Anything can happen in this game?
But Barca recovery is identity. Recover the ADN of Barcelona is the really offensive football with player from the cantera, from the Masia. And we saw yes, it's funny to see Barcelona this season. It's strange because we have an odds for the under 70.5 goals, and because I was curious not to check the over 5.5 or over 6.5 goals, because everything can happen in this game. The question is which team defend worst? Because yes, except not only the match when they meet, but we saw both teams in some games in this Champions League with a football champagne. where the defense are with the door and the window open. And in that type of fighting, Barcelona have something more respect to Benfica. The key is the defense of Benfica. Because if Benfica can be reproduced the first half in Daluz, when they score 3 goals, Benfica has chance to catch point against Barcelona. Because Barca is a young team. And in the management of some games this season, Barcelona must to suffer a little more and to acquire experience. And in Champions, that one is difficult because you must to pass to really difficult defeat. And now choose 1x2 is really difficult. I choose the security market for that because I think the over 3.25 goals is a good option because I saw minimum 3 goals in the game. Odds 1.81.
Great game. This one, Marco is also pointing at Rafinha, anytime scorer. Lewandowski is not in good form. He said he rested in the Copa del Rey, for instance. But, all three. Also, Lamine Yamal is not scoring plenty recently. But 2 assists, for instance, could be also a very good bet. Benfica plays really attractive football. Both teams, actually. So we should see a lot of goals in Daluz. And the last game, probably the best game we have in this last 16 round. PSG, Liverpool, tops of Ligue 1 and the Premier League, both in great form, both with their competitions in the pocket. So now is the big exam of the season for both of them, I would say, especially for PSG, because they are used to win everything in the domestic competition, and then when these games happen in Europe, they try to screw it up. Alain, it looks like this PSG is stronger, 19 wins and 1 draw in the last games, even beating, for instance, Man City this season. But now is the big test, and with Liverpool having a great season, coming to this game rested. They didn't play at the weekend because they are out of the FA Cup. Do you trust PSG? Do you think the history can change and finally PSG can beat a big team in this kind of knockout rounds? They already did. I mean,
I trust of the PSG can be in the game in Anfield. Yes, and since the beginning of 2025, PSG only victory except a draw against Stade de Reims, who is probably one of the worst team since the beginning of the year. But that one means motivation, no? Now with Liverpool, I have a doubt. And is the management of the turnover of Arne Slot. Because Arne Slot play with 13, 14 players. And that one is the moment of the season when you don't make a lot of turnover. Liverpool is already qualifying for the final of Carabao Cup. My question is, against Plymouth, Liverpool wanted to go forward in the FA Cup. Because Plymouth is the bottom of the championship. And I have some doubts to manage the energy of the team. The best news for Arne Slot is the team not play before this game, the last weekend, and can be recover a little because it was important, because the rhythm of Liverpool is really crazy. After the game in Plymouth, we saw not a very good version in Goodison Park, in the last game of history in Goodison Park, and we start to seeing to South Arsenal can be fight until the end of the season in Premier. No, already Liverpool is in a comfortable position. I think they arrive in Paris with the best condition right now, and for PSG is the test because Liverpool in the battle of the with the midfielder, and the game will be played in that part of the field. Liverpool is dominant because Arne Slot found his triangle, because Gravenberch, McAllister, Szoboszlai are brilliant, and especially from the wing, I think Paris Saint-Germain will be suffer a lot because PSG concede against team in Liga. Maybe the team in Liga don't score with that capacity to score without create a lot of occasion. And Liverpool don't need a lot of occasion. It's not a champagne football. The Liverpool is really efficient football, and that one Paris Saint-Germain, in my opinion, will be suffer. In the statistic, you can't stay 20 games winning like their do is statistical. And in my opinion, Liverpool will be catch a positive results, double opportunity, 𝐿2 odds 1.61.
A lot of different opinions for this game. This is a really good one. Draw, halftime draw, full-time draw for Marco. Carbonaro going for Liverpool, double chance. Ani going for PSG, winning this game. Carbonaro, no way PSG is winning this game. They are only good against French teams. Well, the gap is huge, Ronan, so of course we cannot compare Brest with Liverpool, that's for sure.
No, of course not. But if you look at PSG's Champions League games recently, they've won them all, won the last 5 Champions League games, and they've scored 3 or more goals in each of them. So this is a PSG team who are winning in Europe as well as in the league. Obviously, we can only count recent form maybe in the domestic tournament, but in 2025, they haven't been beaten once. They've only had 1 draw. They've won every other game. They've won every game since January 25th. So yeah, this is a PSG team that I know the opposition isn't as good as Liverpool. There are a few teams in Europe at the moment who are as good as Liverpool, so you're not going to be playing teams like this every week. But this PSG team, they can't do much more to prove themselves in the matches they've played recently than what they've been doing, because they've scored 3+ goals in the last 4 games. This is a team that are just scoring goals, winning matches. I don't know what more they can do, but do know what more they can do. They can get a result here on Wednesday night against Liverpool. That'll be the proof to see if this PSG team are as good as they think they are as good as maybe some of their fans think they are as good as some of our commenters definitely think they are, because we've had plenty of people thinking that PSG can get something from this game. But like Alain is going for Liverpool to get something, I'm not sure I'm going to say PSG are definitely going to win this one, so I'm going to look elsewhere to find a bit of value. So like I said, they've been scoring 3 or more goals in games in Champions League, in the league. So I'm going to go for a bit more of the same here. PSG to score over 1.5 goals in this match is 2.75, which would work well with the 2-2 or 3-3 predictions we've got in the comments. That would fit in well. But their player at the moment that they rely on so much is Ousmane Dembele. He's got 6 goals and 1 assist so far in 8 Champions League games this season. He's been brilliant in 2025. So Ousmane Dembele to score or assist in this game is 191. So that's my tip here.
Well, Liverpool Asian handicap -1 for 𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐲. Really, really interesting, this tie with a lot of different opinions, with a big exam, I would say, for both sides, but especially for PSG, because Liverpool can be very, very happy with the season if they get the Premier League, of course, and even the League Cup in their pocket. And PSG, no. PSG need to have a good run in the Champions League. Well, you made a lot of predictions, guys, so you can also post your tips in Oddspedia and be able to win some cash prizes and participate in our tipster competitions. Now it's a new month in March, 3rd of March today, so you can participate in the March tipster competition, and we have so many of them. And also create your own tipster competition and play with your friends thanks to rivals, or participate in this one, for instance, that someone created about the Champions League last 16 round. There you go. Well, 175 euros if you win that competition. Ronan, safe bet?
My safe bet is Sergio Guirassy to have over 0.5 shots on target at 142.
Interesting, this site bet for Guirassy, prop bet for Guirassy to shot on target. Alain?
Arsenal double opportunity 1.30.
Alain, Yoraka?
Dortmund, Lille, both team to score. Feyenoord, Inter over 0.75 goals in the second half. Benfica, Bayern, both teams to score. Bayer Leverkusen over 1.75 goals for a total 4.19.
There you go. Ronan, yours?
Yeah, I'm going for a bit bolder this time, so doubling down on 𝐿 𝐵𝐵𝐵 anytime scorer, and Ousmane Dembele to score or assist for a total of 487.
All right, individual markets for Ronan Murphy. Thanks, everyone. See you soon. See you tomorrow if you fancy to watch our Europa League games, for instance, or Champions League, of course, next week with the second leg. Bye-bye.
Ciao.